like Jim Gaffigan, Nate Bargatze, Brian Regan, and more.
Nice Fig Newtons by the sleeve. 2 sleeves is a serving size. Open them both and eat them like a tree chipper.
Hear your favorite emerging and legendary comedians without all the dirty stuff. That's Pure Comedy, SiriusXM 98. Or find us anytime using the SiriusXM app. To hear Pure Comedy, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Or find out when the brackets are unveiled Sunday at 6 Eastern on Sports Radio Selection Sunday Special. And throughout March, hear men's college basketball's winning Beyond with Coach K.
Basketball takes over. Very, very exciting. I'm geeked up about that.
It's Basketball and Beyond with Coach K. Tuesdays and 5 Eastern throughout the tournament on College Sports Radio, Channel 84 in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
You may be a legend on the court, but you're an amateur up here. Heads up, Blair. Get all state. Save money and be protected from mayhem, like me. Now you're the bird stuck in the attic.
There you go now.
I think every.
Oh, let's see. You gotta get there you go now.
I think every.
Oh, let's see. You gotta get
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 01868.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vini Vini Vici, let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's actually on March the 15th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you reach out and test drive yours, tell them sit ya where the good Lord split you. As well as driving a fleet of Cadillac cars. Really do appreciate that. Imagine where the good Lord, where did the good Lord split you? Somebody got a really big split. It's good to have a big split. Oh, Lord have mercy. I do want to say I love today's show. It's a day that manifestations are coming true. Manifestations is all fair and level. I really do appreciate that. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 29 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, or you might be sitting there just looking at a still picture, and you don't want to look at a still picture too long. It's not good for your eyes. I went to the optometrist today, And they would, oh my God, I had an epiphany. I went to the optometrist today. And, you know, I asked them, did insurance cover everything? They said, yes, your insurance covers everything. I said, well, that's great. I'll take the full package then. And then they did my eyes. They said, sir, you really got some dirty contact lenses. I said, well, what can I do about that? And the optometrist, she said, you could try not sleeping in them, sir. I said, but they said they're airfocal, where you can sleep in them and have the same vision. She said, yeah, but you know, the dust has to go someplace, sir. I said, I have a hard time, and I don't want to say this because I don't want it to come true, but there are times I don't see as well as night for the street lights, and if the light's great, but the street signs, sometimes I don't see what street sign it is. And to me, I think they've turned down some of the lights so people can run those lights. That's what I'm thinking. California, they said it's illegal now to have those electronic cameras that see a red light and it takes a picture of you. Where they say that's illegal now. Imagine that. After they've taken money out of everybody's pocket, they said they're illegal because it costs more money to run those red light cameras than they are taking in. They didn't say they took them down because they don't stop accidents. They said it costs more money to keep them running than it does for them to be taken.
$8,000 per year.
If that makes sense to you, they say it's like thousands of dollars they're losing per year. Oh, life is funny. You gotta forgive me. I went to the optometrist. And they had me, as I said, does insurance cover everything? They said yes. And then at the end of all the exams that I said, they said, okay, now here's your balance due. I said, I thought you said the insurance covered everything. She said, yeah, but this part you opted in for the extra thing. I said, but if I ask you if insurance covers everything, doesn't that mean everything? And she said, well, sir, you opted in for we could have dilated your eyes, or we could have run a scan. And then you said you wanted the scan. And it says, in fine print, it says, ask for more details or pricing. I said, that's what I did when I asked you, does my insurance cover everything? And you said, yes, it does. To me, that means everything. But, you know, they tried to do the bait and switch, my optometrist. And at the end of the bait and switch, I said, well, can you show me in writing where it says I'm supposed to pay that extra fee at the end? It was a big fee, could have filled up my gas tank. And she said, well, we don't put it in writing, but we ask you if you have any other questions then about more details or pricing, ask. I said, I did ask. That's why when I came in here, I asked you, do you accept my insurance? You said yes. Everything's covered. So everything to me means everything. But you know, sometimes because those fancy and I'm not making an indictment to any dentist or doctor or optometrist, but when they tell you the fine print says that you're supposed to ask if something costs more. Well, I'm a smart guy. So I said when I walked in with my insurance card, not only when I made the appointment, I said, does my insurance cover everything? And they said yes, and that's why I chose them. And then when I got there, I asked again, does my insurance cover everything? And they said yes. And so at the end, before I was leaving, they told me they wanted to see if I was going to pay attention or not. And they said, well, this part is, we asked you if you wanted the extra thing on there, and you said, yes, I did want the eye scan. I said, yeah, but I asked you, did the insurance cover everything? And you said, yes. Long story short, they said, well, we'll just reimburse you, sir. We'll just void the charge on your card because obviously you didn't read the fine print. I said, I did read the fine print, but show me where it says I'm supposed to pay this price in your fine print. You know, they didn't have it. And I said, I just want to tell my insurance carrier that when the insurance carrier told me that everything is covered, that the optometrist said everything's not covered. And I'm going to tell my insurance company that the optometrist doesn't have everything in writing what I'm supposed to pay. That's like going to the gas station and filling up your car with gas, and then they tell you the price after you filled it up. Oh, that's $500. $500 for a tank of gas? They say, yeah. I said, but if gas, it says $4.50 a gallon. That's what it said when I pulled up to get the gas. So why is it $500? They said, because that's in the fine print. I said, the fine print, it still doesn't say show me where it says $500 in the fine print. They said, well, it doesn't, but that's what we charge you. People always ask for every receipt. Then I asked for a copy of my receipt so I can show my insurance company. And they said, well, we already scanned it. I said, give me a copy of what you scanned. I want a copy of what I signed. That's called a receipt. they didn't want to give me a receipt, and so I asked for the manager. The manager came out and said, well, we scanned it in the system. I said, that's okay. I just still want a copy of what you scanned. Because you scanned it into the system doesn't mean you scanned the wet signature. See, sometimes you just feel like they're trying to suck you for everything. It's okay being sucked on as long as you want to be sucked on. Long story short, they gave me the refund. And the price they charged me that they gave me the refund, it was nowhere in writing. And I wonder if they're doing that to a lot of the customers. They tell you the insurance covers everything, and by the time you get there, they say, well, there's an extra piece, there's a special part that you wanted that doesn't get covered by your insurance. But when I ask you, does the insurance cover everything? That means everything. Am I missing something? If they say everything's included, doesn't that mean everything's covered? But then they have the special fee. So I got to make sure when you're doing something, ask for everything in writing, which is what I did. And they still haven't produced in writing the fee they charged me. Give asking for the receipt some praise. Because had I just given them my credit card and walked out, they would have charged me extra. Yeah, my contact lenses were dirty. And I know my vision's not the best. She said, we've seen worse, sir. I said, well, that's a good consolation prize. I know my vision's not the best. That's why I need glasses. I knew that when I was going in. But you still got to tell me what I owe if that makes sense to you. But it all got worked out. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports into the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. I want to tell you what I do with Big C Sports Podcast that I love. I know I'm a stickler for attention to detail. And sometimes when I even ask for a receipt when I get $1 cup of coffee. You sure you want a receipt, sir? Yes. One time I went to the gas station and I just wanted to get $20 of gas because I was a half full, and usually at that time $20 would fill it up. I mean, this was about a year or two ago when gas was cheaper. And then the lady charged $80 on my credit card. And so I happened to ask for the receipt. And as I was going to my car to double check the receipt like I always do, it said $80. I said, my car won't even take $80. And when I went back to have her put the extra money, the $60 back in my card, she said, oh, well, there's no way of doing that. Can I give you the cash? She was going to keep that cash. Because in her eyes, had I not paid attention, I was buying $20 of gas, and that's what she thought I was just going to do. But I wanted $20, but she charged me $80. And the fact that she said she can't put the $60 back on the card, she has to give it to me in cash. Who was she going to give that money to had I not asked for my money back? Because people got all kind of scams going on. Be careful. Just because they say optometrist or gas station, it doesn't mean they won't try to take you. And it could have been a mistake too, and that's okay too. But you still don't let that mistake happen to you. If that makes sense to you, get at some praise. I love giving that praise when mistakes don't happen to you. What I love doing with the Big C Sports Podcast, I'm going to talk about some basketball today, some March Madness to get the selection set up for Sunday. But I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter and receipts in our lives. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play. The show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And then 4 TV platforms and Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. And then number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports back in the day at Salem Media. Is still to this day, some people say I talk too slow. I have no idea why anyone in the universe can say that I talk too slow. I talk fast on a purpose because I only got an hour show and I got so much to get in. But I love saying that. What I also want to do, and I'll take my time saying this, I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline because they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, especially a veteran, there's a help on the way. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. Especially when they charge you something that's not in writing. My dentist, my optometrist said, well, that's a special price because you wanted a special service. I said, but I asked you when I signed my contract, before I even signed it, is everything covered by my insurance? And they said, yes. 45 minutes later, they had a special price they wanted to offer me. I mean, it just if you got an extra $90 for 9 or say 10 clients that come through, that's like an extra $900 a day. And if you don't oppose it, look at that extra $900 a day that they could have made, because they had people waiting in the lobby when I went in, and when I went there were people already leaving out of their appointment. I'm just saying, watch the fine print. Just because someone's an optometrist, it doesn't mean that they're not trying to take a little bit off the top, if that makes sense to you. When I say take some off the top, I'm not talking about a haircut, because I shave everything down. I like it all taken off, if that makes sense to you. If you like it all taken off, give that some praise. I want it all off. There's an extra fee for that, sir. That's an extra fee for getting the shave. Life is so funny. I wanna pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force. Before I do, I love saying there's a commercial, and it was kind of in the front part of my program. It's called Mayhem, and it had Larry Bird, the great Boston Celtic. And Larry Bird, he needed someone getting some birds out of his attic, so they called Mayhem to show up to get him out. And he said, "Aren't you Mr. Bird?" And he was... So Larry was trying to chase him out of the attic, and he was trying to trap Larry Bird, because he said he wanted some birds taken out of his attic. At the same time, Larry Bird couldn't catch the birds, and Mayhem ended up making Larry Bird fall into the trap that was set for the bird. So as he fell through his ceiling, Michael Jordan said, "This ceiling is the roof." It makes sense to you. It doesn't have to be in fine print, like the optometrist told me. It doesn't have to be in fine print, the price. I'm telling you what the price is. I said, "That's fine, ma'am, but can you show me in writing what the price is, the extra $89? She said, "Well, we don't put it in writing. We don't have to." I said, "For a contract, you got to put it." I asked you, does the insurance cover everything? And you said yes. And then you said there's an extra $89 fee on the end that you don't have to put in writing. Yes, you do have to put it in writing, because I signed it. Once I signed it, the contract is sealed. Signed, sealed, and delivered. And then they try to add on an extra price. We don't have to put that price in writing, sir. Oh, yes, you do, because I signed. And what I signed said I owe $0. Only some people understand that. I owe you $0. I'm talking about my eyes could use... I could use more cleaning on my contact lens. I knew that before I walked in. Life's funny. We don't have to put the whole price on the contract, sir. I guess I'm not supposed to question my optometrist. They thought, oh, he can't see anyway, so we could give him an extra price. She saw my vision. She said, "Are you sure you can see, sir?" I said, "You're not supposed to discriminate against the visually impaired." I know my eyes are bad. That's why I came here. I used to win every sun staring contest. I think that's funny. I used to win every sun staring contest when I was young with my brothers. Now I'm paying the price. I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I want to thank Attorney Camila Moore, the chair, because I give her some praise. She's the chair of the California Reparations Task Force. Really do appreciate her. And then I also want to make sure that I want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown. He's the vice chair of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. Had a conversation with him yesterday. I'm going to try to get him on the program before the end of this month. I want to thank Attorney Senator Stephen Bradford, the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. I want to thank Council Member Monica Montgomery Steppers. She's brilliant, part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant, and part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Dr. Sel Grills. She's brilliant, part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant, part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. He's also part of the California Reparations Task Force. And I want to thank Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's brilliant, part of the California Reparations Task Force. And as I say that, I want to say, give that some praise. I say, give it praise, praise, praise. Because they also put their things in fine print. Just when you think you can trust your optometrist, and they're going to tell me that I owed an extra fee at the end of my appointment. And all I said is, can you show me where the fee is? They said, well, we don't have to put that part in writing, sir. I said, well, yes, you do. How do I know what the fee is if you don't put it in writing? I said, I can see, and I can see there's no fee. So I owe you zero. Looked at me like I couldn't see. There was no price in the fine print. No, they got to show you. You know what I had to do? I had to learn to protect my assets. That's why I love working with RDC Consulting, a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth with the law offices of Scott Thibodeau and George Jones. The Missing Link, the long-term care solutions by the book. Over 3 decades of experience is Medicare and You, and taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. In other states, it may be called Medicaid. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. Find out your options. Our promise to you, specialized to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets. Like today, when I had to go see my eye doctor, I had to make sure I protected my assets. They were trying to charge me extra. Now, if I didn't have the vision that I have, I wouldn't have been able to see that they were trying to take money out of my assets. We protect your assets without a spend down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies and sounded by our staff of entitlement specialists, and we put our stuff in writing. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medical equipment costs, and more protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program, which could be up to 40%, and a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. Give that some praise. Like my optometrist said, when I asked, does my insurance cover everything? They said, yes, it does. And when I went to leave, they said, well, here's your balance, sir. I said, I thought you said the insurance covered everything. They said, yeah, but there's another section that you said you wanted your eye scan. I said, well, show me on the receipt, on the contract that I signed where it says that. They said, well, we don't put that on the paper, sir. I said, well, why am I paying for something that I can't see? My vision's not that bad. At the end of the day, they returned it to me. So why RDC? Because we have asset protection. And in conjunction with the law offices of Scott Thibodeau and George Jones, I tell you about protecting yourself. We have protection insurance coverage required by a law. Oh my God, I just had an epiphany. I was dealing with some insurance today with my optometrist. And I always tell business owners we have protection for insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal, planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance. And then also, what about the fixed assets, Big C? The bank account, checking account, savings account, money market accounts, certificates of deposit, the life insurance with cash values, fixed index annuities. What about variable assets, Big C? Yes, I'm glad you asked. Real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, and other investments. Attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. Because when I went to my optometrist today, they told me that insurance covered everything. But at the end of a 45-minute exam, they told me I owed another fee. They said I had a balance. It's like $90. I said, what's the $90 for? She said, oh, it's for the service you wanted the scan. I said, yeah, I told you I wanted the scan, but I asked you, does insurance cover everything before I sat down? And even when I made the appointment, you said yes. So where's that extra $90 coming from? She said, oh, it's a fee. We don't have to add it to the contract, sir. I said, oh, yes, you do. Because what I signed that my insurance covers everything because you told me it did. And they tried to sneak in an extra fee. Can you believe that? If you take an extra $90 times extra 10 clients, that's an extra $900 a day. Always ask for the receipt. And they tried to tell me, we don't put that on the receipt, sir. I said, come on. I said, you all must be out of your bargain mind. That's why I ask for the receipt. Always get the receipt. You never know if somebody's shucking and jiving you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it because they were trying to shuck and jive me. How do I know that? Because they gave me back the refund. Had I not asked for the refund, you think they would have given it to me? I don't know. Probably not. They tried not to, and that's why I love working with the RDC team because we help you protect and preserve your assets. And the reason I say that, we have the endorsements of Mr. George H. Jones, the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. We have Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, and one of the top lobbyists in California. Also, Ms. Shell Brown, the chair of the California Commission on Aging. Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the president and CEO of Resource Development Consulting. Mr. Alex De La Cruz, the founder of American veterans benefits. You got to give that some praise. I make sure they protect all our assets. My eye doctor, now, Thomas, just tried to tell me that we don't have to put it in writing. I want to thank Double O Payout Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. Also has her own talk show called Let's Eat. It's economic awareness. Really do appreciate her. She sent me Executive Order 13985 on further advancing equity and support for communities. That was signed by President Biden, his first term in office. That was his first term in office, and he did that, and she sent that to me. Really do appreciate her. She also sent me this article from the United Nations. It says that strong leadership and political power is crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. And I know sometimes people don't want to think about reparations, but we got ripped off. Just like they almost ripped me off today at the optometrist. Different ethnic group, maybe they do it to everybody. But I do know they tried to take some money out of my pocket and said they didn't have to put in writing what the cost was. And I said, yes, you do. When I signed that contract and I asked you verbally, there's two agreements. Number one, I asked you, does the insurance cover everything? You said yes. Then I signed your contract, showing that there's no cost. But they said, well, in the small print it says that you can ask other questions or about price. I said, that's deceptive. Just put in writing that you want an extra $89 and give me some praise for knowing how to read. They made it thought his eye was so bad he won't even see the fine print. But I gotta tell you, it was funny because it should have been easier than that. I said, I'll guarantee I will refer you guys more customers. There was a new optometrist today. And you know, it was a new optometrist. Give us some praise to having a new optometrist. They sometimes think, oh, he's new. He doesn't know the system. So we're gonna get an extra fee out of him. No, you can't get no extra fee out of me. It just didn't feel right in my stomach. And when something doesn't feel right in your stomach, trust your gut. So I trusted my gut, and I did not let them take from me any more than what I was willing to give them. Whether it's $89 or $900, they don't have the right to do that. But if you don't stand up for your rights, sometimes they will do that to people. Maybe it's all fair and love and war, but they did give it back after I told them that I did not appreciate that. I want to say also, I want to thank T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsors of Big C Sports Podcast. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsors of Big C Sports Podcast. I want $6 billion. I'm not sucking and jiving. I want it all. You know, I want to say also, people probably know about it. It's in the news. I'm going to get into some March Madness too. But it's in the news down in Georgia that Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Wills' case against Trump, it can continue. Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, who had a relationship with Wills, resigned from the case hours after the decision. And obviously it happened, I think it happened yesterday. If I'm not mistaken. Either yesterday or today. But a Georgia judge ruled, it was today, that Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis should not be disqualified from prosecuting the racketeering case against former President Donald Trump and several co-defendants with one major condition. That Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee found the appearance of impropriety brought about with a relationship with a special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, should result in neither Wills or her office leaving the case, or just Wade, whom she had appointed to the head of the case. So obviously, they decided to have him step aside and resign for whatever reasons. People do what they want to do, and I wonder who the judge may be sleeping with. Why does it matter who she's in the bed with? That's not part of the court proceedings, who she sleeps with, or who the prosecutor sleeps with, or who President Trump sleeps with, or who the district attorney sleeps with. Who's the judge sleeping with? What's that got to do with the case if a guy committed racketeering or not? But I think that was the judge trying to follow the law, and also for whatever reason making it feel like he was being tough. I don't understand. But Trump's attorney Steve Suttle said in a statement, while respecting the court's decision, we believe that the court did not afford appropriate significance to the prosecutorial misconduct of Wills and Wade, and we will use all legal options available as we continue to fight to end this case, which should have never been brought in the first place. If it should have never been brought in the first place, then why are you appealing? If you're appealing something that should have been brought in the first place, you should say we're going to win anyway. Why appeal it? Wouldn't you ask for a speedy trial? If you know you're innocent, wouldn't you want a speedy trial? If you're innocent, wouldn't you ask for a speedy trial? Not to keep pushing that can down the road. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Who knows? All's fair in love and war. But that's the courts do. That's what courts do, and courts decide who they want to put forward and have them do things or not. I want to bring up something that people thought I was joking, because I was saying that I'm going to run for president. In fact, I even wrote my name in the ballot. I wrote Big C as the 47th president of the United States, and people laughed at me. I said Curry is going to become the 47th president of the United States. I wrote it in. You know, some people scoffed at me. They laughed. They said, "Oh man, you must be out of your fucking mind to think they're going to vote for you." Well, I may be out of my fucking mind because I'm a Trekkie. I love Star Trek, so they call them Vulcans. He says, "Spock, are you out of your fucking mind?" And that's what some people told to me. They said, "Big C, are you out of your fucking mind? You going to run for president?" I said, "Yeah, Curry's going to be the 47th president of the United States." Well, I said it first, but what did I find out? Steph Curry, it says Curry's considering running for president following his NBA career. When they said Curry, I thought they were talking about me. And then they said Steph Curry. It says Steph Curry for president. Normally we hear Steph Curry for three. Bang, bang, bang. Now we're hearing Steph Curry for president. That's right. The four-time NBA champion says that living at the White House may be in his future. And Curry's 36, now playing. When they said he was 36, I knew it wasn't me. When they said he's now playing in his 15th NBA season with the Golden State Warriors as he plans his life beyond the NBA, and he's considering running for office. I just told you yesterday or earlier in the week that Jesse Ventura, former wrestler, and also Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the New York Jets, and then Robert F. Kennedy Jr. chose them to be his running mates. I don't know if it's just satire or what it was. And now I told you Big C, when it was Super Tuesday, I was running. I put my name on the ballot to be the next president of the United States as Big C, president of the United States. And I said my speech is going to be reparations now, reparations forever. I remember saying that, and I remember saying that loud and clear. So now Curry appeared on CBS Mornings Tuesday. When you think about what he did, I'm telling you, it's not me making this up. People can laugh all they want, and they can say that I was just joking. But when you realize that Curry, he actually, according to the interview, that he talked about running for a president of the United States. Whether he does or not, that's pretty spectacular that athletes then told to stay out of politics, and now you have top athletes saying they want to run to be the president of the United States. And so he has a book, and I think his book is called I'm Extraordinary. And then CBS National News correspondent Jerika Duncan, she asked him whether he'd ever consider a career in politics, specifically running for president, after his playing days are over. And I think I don't know if he's joking or not, but he says, maybe. I have an interest in leveraging every part of my influence for good in the way that I can. And Curry responded, so if that's the way to do it, then I'm not going to say that presidency, but if politics is a way that you can create meaningful change, or there's other ways outside of politics, then that's something he'll do. And I'm proud of him for all the things he's doing in the Bay Area to help youth. But the basketball icon has won 2 NBA Most Valuable Player awards as one of the world's most admired athletes with over 56 million Instagram followers. He's committed to giving back to his family and his fans and uplifting his community that he's done. And in 2019, he and his wife, Aisha Curry, they launched the Eat, Learn, and Play Foundation, which focuses on nutrition, literacy, and physical activity for youth in a couple's adopted hometown of Oakland, California. Even though he lives in the Silicon Valley, South Bay, Steph Curry believes that he can improve education for kids in the city with the right investments, with the right approach of getting kids the appropriate cultural relevant, age-appropriate books and tutoring, which is another element of what he's trying to do with his wife. And so I wish them nothing but the best. And then Steph Curry added that the foundation has invested almost $6 million in literacy efforts in the Bay Area. I applaud that. He remembers that in his childhood, he struggled in school, and he hopes his story will inspire kids to believe that they can also overcome obstacles and achieve great success. And then coming through basketball, they did not pass the eye test. Stephen said in a CBS interview that he was called a late bloomer, but it was about developing a confidence in who he was and developing a work ethic and not getting deterred by failure along the way. I remember when he came out of Davidson, he had a lot of injuries with his ankles, but he worked through that. and he became the best shooter in the history of the NBA. Every time he makes a three-point basket, it increases the bar, it moves the bar for 3 points scored in the NBA. And then as a South, think about it, as he promotes his book, while striving for another championship with the Warriors, he's looking forward to a new addition to his family. He's been married to Aisha. She's 34 years old since 2011, and they share 3 children, Riley, Ryan, and Cannon. And now Aisha revealed earlier this month that the couple is also expecting another child. So the former Food Network star said that she and her husband thought that they were done having kids, but decided to try for a 4th child, and now maybe God's blessed them with that. I want to give them some praise, and hopefully I wish them everything that their heart desire, and maybe have everything that God wants to give them, if that makes sense to you. But now they have to change their matchup. Instead of saying Steph Curry for 3, it's going to be Steph Curry for 4. For the 4th child. See, I could have been a comedian, but my optometrist said I got to be able to see the fine print. The fine print. I think I could have been a comedian. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So now we have, speaking of basketball, they're ready to put on the One Shiny Moment song at the end of the year. But 2024 NCAA basketball March Madness selection show happens on Sunday, and the brackets will be revealed. And I think there's a lot of good old boys around the country that I'm hoping that their name gets called. And then the college basketball's conference tournaments will be coming to an end across the nation this weekend. So it's time to get ready for the 2024 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship selection. And when this year's March Madness bracket is revealed, there'll be some heartbreak. There'll also be some teams that are excited that they actually got chosen. Not everybody's going to get in. It's always a time of year when people get on the bubble and they feel they should have gotten a chance to play in March Madness. That's why they call it March Madness. It's not going to be for everybody to get in. But for the teams that get in, they can fight for that one shiny moment. And I wish everyone the best. So that tournament and the selection is going to happen this Sunday. And I believe it starts at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount. So you'll know there's 68 teams that you can start making your picks, and then you can scratch the bracket and hope that you can win some money down the back nine, if that makes sense to you with a golf metaphor. But you can get ready for the 2024 NCAA tournament bracket. You can just print and fill in as the teams are revealed, and they're going to do it on Sunday on CBS Sports. And the most magical time of the year is officially upon us for basketball players, college basketball players, with a fresh 68-team bracket set to be unveiled as everyone gears up for what should be another exciting edition of March Madness. I love to say, let's get ready to rumble! They get ready for that. I love March Madness. Everybody has the selections filled out when they find out on Sunday. And in the meantime, no matter who you think is going to win a college championship, it really is an exciting time of the year. It makes $1 billion for March Madness. And when you look at some of the teams that are part of March Madness, they're always looking for that Cinderella story that can step up and hit somebody upside the head and say, "Hoops upside your head," that they won. So when you think about the brackets, everybody has a chance, especially out here in the West Coast. St. Mary's is a college. Gonzaga is a college that's always making waves. Of course, you hear about the UCLAs and the Arizonas of the world, and then the Cal Berkeleys and the Stanfords over the years. And then I was looking at maybe Sacramento State maybe getting a chance to get in out of the Big Sky, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. But at the same time, the Associated Press Top 25 picked to win their conference before trending downward amid unconventional losses in their conferences. You have schools that will always step up and they'll get a big upset. But I want to tell you Big C's thoughts on college basketball's power rankings. It doesn't mean that they're going to do it, but I want to just say, for the West Coast sake, when you think about programs out here, the Pac-12 is going away after this year, didn't have the best conference this year in basketball, and maybe, just maybe, that's because a lot of the times the kids were affected by the conference being, I guess, thrown away. Some of the teams in the Pac-12 South joining the Big 12, and the Pac-12 North joining the Big 10. That affects the way people play and look at things. But that's my story. I'm sticking with that. And maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. But I'm just going to give you some thoughts on college basketball and some of these teams that I'm going to go with the top 16 because everybody has their own thoughts on it. I'm going to say Big C's power rankings, March Madness. I'm going to go, because of the Sweet 16 is where you feel like every team that gets in has a chance to win. I'm going to start today with Big C's Sweet 16 power rankings. I got number 16, Utah State. They ended the Mountain West tournament on a 5-game winning streak after beating New Mexico on Saturday to claim the outright conference title. First-year coach Danny Sprinkle has done incredible work with the roster, and I think that team has they have an outside chance of getting past that Sweet 16. That's what I'm going to say, because they are a good team, and that's my story I'm taking with it. I got number 15 in Big C's NCAA college basketball power rankings. I have the University of Nevada, the Wolfpack. Nevada has won 10 of its last 11 games in the rugged Mountain West Conference after beginning league play at 3-4. The Wolfpack, they play at Thomas and Mack Center I beg your pardon, they play at Lawler Event Center on the University of Nevada in Reno. The Wolfpack are exactly the type of experienced squad that could make noise in the NCAA tournament. And I tell you, the Wolfpack, you have Nevada and you have UNLV that are the marquee programs in the state of Nevada, and they always compete for their own state bragging rights. But I like Nevada's chances in that Sweet 16, getting to that Sweet 16. I got to go now to another program, the Baylor Bears, just off of a national championship 2 years ago. Baylor has hovered between the number 6 and number 20 in the Associated Press poll for the entire season. It's alternated between losing streaks and winning streaks, but the Bears, they have the talent to make a run, and they put together some impressive stretches at times. The Baylor Bears coming out of that Big 12, they're going to add Utah next year, as well as Colorado, Arizona, and Arizona State. But this year, Baylor plays a physical brand of basketball. They always have. And when they have the ability to match up, they can be more physical down in the paint. I think that gives them a chance to advance and become one of those Sweet 16 teams. That's my reason. That's my reason why I put them up there in that order. I want to go number 13 in Big C's NCAA basketball March Madness. I got to go with the BYU Cougars. BYU gets a high percentage of its points from beyond the arc. They shoot 41%, and that's more than any other team that would be in the NCAA tournament. Now, they let it fly style. Back in the day, you saw that with the running Rebels from UNLV, but the BYU Cougars, they like to let it fly. They like to shoot threes. They either three or go home, and they carried the Cougars to an impressive 10-8 mark during their inaugural Big 12 campaign. It's going to make them a boom or bust team in the Big Dance. Now, they were an independent last year, and they got into the Big 12, and they were competing with everybody like the Baylors of the world. They were competing with the programs like Texas and Oklahoma and the Kansas programs of the world. BYU, no one gave that basketball program that kind of credit when they were not there. So don't be surprised if they shoot themselves into a Sweet 16. That's just my opinion. I got to go with number 12 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I'm going to go with the Arizona Wildcats. Now, they're moving out of the Pac-12 next year because they're disbanding the league, and they're going to play in the Big 12 with the likes of BYU and Baylor. Arizona, always known as a Pac-12 championship contender, their ability to play down to the level of an inferior opponent surfaced again Saturday with a 78-65 loss at USC, which is going to the Big Ten. Now, the Wildcats hadn't already clinched the Pac-12 title, but it was a concerning performance for a team in the hunt for the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament just last week. So Arizona, sometimes they just kind of surprise people when they play down to the level of competition, but every year it seems to be a team that's considered for Pac-12 championship caliber consideration. And then when they get into the March Madness, they have their chance, as well as anybody else, to become a number 1 or 2 seed. Well, they're not going to be a number 1 seed now because of that loss to USC, but that doesn't mean they can't up their play when they get into the March Madness. So I still have them as a Sweet 16 team. They can beat a lot of people, but also they can lose to teams they're not supposed to lose to. When you get to the Sweet 16, everybody's good. So that gives me some hope about Arizona. Will they make some noise and give the Pac-12? Will they make some noise and give the Pac-12 a chance to have a team that reaches March Madness Final Four in the final year of the conference? If there's anyone that can, then I believe that Arizona would be that team that can. It doesn't mean they're going to, because they didn't turn out the way I thought they would in the Pac-12 tournament. But I'm not going to rule them out of making a run for the Final 8, if that makes sense to you. But at least Sweet 16. I got number 11 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I'm going to go with the good old boys from Duke, the Duke Blue Devils. Duke lost at home to a bitter rival, North Carolina. And that's not a bitter rival when it comes to the people in Carolina. Carolina hates Duke, and Duke hates Carolina. If that makes sense to you, why hate anybody? Life is so wonderful when you don't hate people. But at the same time, you know how they say, oh, they're hated rivals. Well, if you understand that, it's just talk for sports sake. But they lost to rival North Carolina with a share of the ACC title at stake. Stanford and Cal are joining the ACC. Doesn't make any sense to me. But they enter the postseason on such a bitter note, and it may motivate the Blue Devils, who would face North Carolina in the ACC tournament title game on Saturday if the bracket plays out according to plan. And you know, television would love to see Duke and North Carolina play again and again and again, if that makes sense to you. I got number 10 in Big C's NCAA college basketball power rankings. You don't have to agree with it. Just my opinion that they're a team that's primed for the Sweet 16. I got Illinois, and they're good enough defensively to win a national title. Probably not, but are they good enough offensively to reach the Final Four? You bet your asses! They're a good team, but they're probably not going to win a national title. But I do think they're a solid team that can get to the Final Four. And I say that with some hesitation. And I think Terrence Shannon Jr. His savvy scoring wings present major matchup problems for most opponents. Also, Marcus Domask, they are a good team to fight in the Illini, and they play in the rugged Big Ten. So they're already battle-tested no matter who they face in the brackets going forward, depending on how they're selected by the committee. But it's just my thoughts on teams that have a promise to get to the Sweet 16. And I think Illinois, the Fighting Illini, they definitely have that chance. I got to put number 9 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. I got to go with Marquette. Maybe Dwayne Wade will have some magic with his Hall of Fame nomination, NBA Hall of Fame nomination last year. But Marquette, they secured a needed victory over Xavier on Saturday to close the regular season. So long as star guard Tyler Kolek is healthy by the NCAA tournament after missing 3 games with an oblique injury, the Golden Eagles will be a threat to reach the second weekend. They are a star-studded team. I know they don't play in the best conference, but you got to look at them. Marquette, when it comes to tournament time, they're always a team that scares people. I have them capable of being in that Sweet 16. That's my story, and I'm taking with it. I got number 8 in Big C's college basketball power rankings, the Iowa State Cyclones. Yeah, they fell to a 6-7 in games away from Hilton Coliseum with a 65-58 loss at Kansas State on Saturday. The Cyclones won't be playing in Ames, Iowa during the postseason, but need to figure out a way to bring the Hilton Magic with them. And it's a team that when they are on the road, they just haven't played the best. They don't have the crowd noise behind them, but there's something that happens when you have your home crowd behind you, and they're going to have to step it up. I still have them an outside chance at a Sweet 16, and they're a star-studded team too. They play well, good defense, good offensively. They pace the ball well. We'll see if that holds up for them if they can get into the Sweet 16. I got number 7, Creighton. They've won 7 of 8 games entering the postseason and also inked Coach Greg McDermott to a contract extension. Now, things are going well for the Blue Jays, who are a heartbreaking finish away from reaching last year's Final Four. Creighton, a lot of people don't give them a lot of national news, but they're a tournament-tested team. They were a blink away from getting to the Final Four last year. This year, they're going to try to kick down that door and cut down those nets. I don't think they'll cut down the nets, but I do think they're a Sweet 16 team. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And everybody has their own story. I got to go to the Blue Buck, number 6 in Big C's NCAA college basketball power rankings. I got to go with Kentucky, an 85-81 win at Tennessee. It showed another example of Kentucky's Final Four potential, but believing the Wildcats to be postseason warriors, meaning believing in an extraordinary young team. They've been spotty defensively, and you got to play good defense when you get up with the big boys in March Madness, because it will get more physical, and the officials tend to let them play a more physical brand of basketball down in the paint as you get closer to the March Madness in the Final Four. So I got them a Sweet 16 team, and then I got to look at Tennessee. I got number 5, Tennessee Volunteers. The emotion of pregame senior day festivities proved to be a hindrance for the Volunteers in their 85-81 loss to Kentucky on Saturday, but the Vols won the SEC outright and remain firmly in the hunt to claim the 4th number 1 seed for the NCAA tournament. Tennessee's good. They're athletic, they're big, they're long, and they play sound defense, and they're battle-tested playing in the SEC. They're a team that I think can make that Final 16, the Sweet 16, and from there, it's a miss-or-make game in a miss-or-make league. So I got them there. I got number 4 in Big C's NCAA college basketball power rankings. I have Purdue. Nationally, in 3 points, they rank 2nd in shooting percentage. They shoot 41% entering the postseason after ranking 291st at 32% last season, and that's why I have them at a number 4 seed. They really upped their game, shooting the ball from around the perimeter. It's easiest to see why the Boilermakers are a team capable of getting to the Final Four because they shoot the ball so well. They've won 14 of the last 15 games, and they're positioned for redemption after a stunning loss to number 16, Farley Dickinson, in last year's Big Dance. They're not gonna, you fooled me once, shame on you. You not gonna fool me again. Says the good boys from Purdue. So I got them obviously in Big C's NCAA college basketball power rankings. I'm gonna say they're definitely a Sweet 16 team. I gotta go with number 3 in Big C's college basketball power rankings. Whether you believe it or not, these teams, you have those upset moments, those one shiny moments where a small program can come in and make noise and knock someone off. But North Carolina, number 3, they're not gonna surprise anybody. And North Carolina clinched the outright ACC title by beating Duke 84-79 to deny the Blue Devils a share of the crown. Now, the Tar Heels have won 6 in a row entering the postseason, and they developed a pretty nice supporting cast around veteran stars R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot. You got to look at, in my opinion, they're a blue blood program, but North Carolina, they've always been a team that can make noise. The great Michael Jordan played for North Carolina. I think one of the better tournament games that I've ever seen in college basketball is when North Carolina played Georgetown back in the day, and you had Michael Jordan hitting the winning shot. I don't think this year's team's going to have that kind of Michael Jordan hitting the winning shot, but I do feel that if you are a program in North Carolina, not only are you expected to be there, you're expected to win. And when you have that type of pedigree, they may get the benefit of the doubt every now and then on a call. That's just a thought. There's a reason a lot of the blue blood programs, they show up year after year after year because they do get the benefit of the doubt. Everybody says they have their own opinion. That's mine because they've earned the right to get favor. I'm not saying it's fair, but I'm saying they've earned the right to get favor, and I see that happening with some of these blue bloods that get there year after year after year. And you got to say that North Carolina is definitely one of those programs that can get the favor. And this year they may find enough favor to get themselves to the Final Four. That's my story that I'm taking with it. And now, believe it or not, I got number 1. Actually, I'm going to go number 2 in Big C's NCAA college basketball power rankings and the Sweet 16. I'm going to go, and it's my opinion, I'm going to go with the Houston Cougars. And they capped the regular season with a 30-point beatdown of Kansas. It was a way to put a winning stamp on how good their program is. It was an even... If we think about how good Houston is, they're not considered a blue blood. But their debut in the Big 12 for Houston and also BYU, both of those programs are, to me, Sweet 16 type of programs. But the Houston Cougars, who entered the postseason having won 14 of their last 15 games. Now, they've been in this mark before, and they're a dominant team. They've become like a Final Four team the last couple of years. You got to look at them as one of the top teams in the country every year, whether they win or not. So I love the fact that they play kind of like the old Nolan Richardson teams at Arkansas. They pressure a lot. They get up into you. They're athletic. They're quick. And they have the pedigree. But will they finish number 1? I don't know. But I do have them at number 2 going into the bracket. Definitely a Sweet 16. Maybe even a Final Four for sure. But I got to go number 1 in the country in Big C's college basketball power rankings. And it might be easy to make this pick. But if you look at what they've done in the past, how do you not make the pick? I got to go with the UConn Huskies. It looks like UConn was in trouble early at Providence on Saturday, and then the Huskies turned on the back 9, and they blew out the Friars, and just like they've blown out many of their Big East opponents. The Huskies have won 18 of the last 19 games. 18 and 19, and that means they put the ball in the basket. That means they play good defense. That means their bench play comes in and they play well too. That means they have great coaching. But they also have a pedigree. if UConn can do what they've done in the last several years, then they'll be definitely a Sweet 16 team. And I wouldn't even put it past them a Final Four. And I think they are, in my opinion, the best team in the country. Doesn't mean they're going to win it all this year. It's hard to go and win championships, especially when you have these Cinderella teams that look for that one shiny moment. But I got to tell you, I really like what they've been doing over the years. And I like the fact that March Madness is a chance for everybody to shine. So give that some praise, whether you get selected into the committee or not. March Madness gives everybody a chance to shine. And I love that part about March Madness. Whether you agree with all the stuff going on in sports, some of these programs in Texas and Florida are saying they want to do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. I disagree with that. I think our world is better when people have more diversity. And I think it's been shown that when they've added diversity to these college programs, they've made more money by getting people to follow the sports. So who's to say they shouldn't have it? And that, to me, is why I will always champion for diversity and inclusion and equity. But not every program does. I know we're all happy about what's going on in sports and March Madness, but I want to say, in closing out today's show, as we get ready for the brackets, you're not going to hear much about this on CBS, but NCAA president calls on black student athletes to boycott Florida public colleges over the DEI policy, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It says that these institutions are unable to completely invest in those athletes. It's time they take their talents elsewhere. And that's the leader of the civil rights organization, NAAC President Derek Johnson. And he talked about that last year. So no matter what you think about NCAA basketball and March Madness, but the head of the NAACP is calling on black students to reconsider their decisions to attend public colleges and universities in Florida, challenging a new state policy that bars those institutions from using government funds on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The letter sent past Monday, to current and future student athletes of the NCAA and NAACP leader Derek Johnson implored college-bound black athletes to choose wisely. And just when you think, oh, maybe he's just trying to bring some attention to his own position as a leader, it's so powerful, his statement, because a lot of people won't know this unless you hear it on Big C Sports, or you follow the NAACP. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, signed a law last year ordering diversity, equity, and inclusion of offices at all state-funded colleges and universities to be shut down. Not for the sports programs. They didn't want to shut down the sports programs. They love the black athletes then. But in the current legislative session, GOP lawmakers in more than 30 states have introduced or passed more than 100 bills to either restrict or regulate diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. That's according to NBC News. I want you to think about that as you're watching March Madness, and we're looking for that one shiny moment. Everybody doesn't always, in my best English, you won't always find everyone who agrees on everything. But what we can agree on is that sports unites people, but I don't want to have it so united that we don't pay attention to what's going on in politics. That's why I would love saying with Big C Sports, reparations now, reparations forever. And that's my story, I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, I love paying homage to my beautiful family on my mother's side. My beautiful grandmother, my great-grandmother called her Mamo. My great-grandfather called him Pop. My grandmother called her Mud Dear. My grandfather Hezekiah, and my beautiful mama. I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. The best person I ever met in my life. Always doing what you could to keep the family together. And on my father's side, my grandfather Albert Curry, my grandmother Alberta Curry, working side by side with owning gas stations and also overhead of 3 churches. Really do appreciate them. And then my grandmother took me when I was 8 years old. She said, there's something about your voice I love when you speak. Really do appreciate that. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. My beautiful brother Todd, love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd can speak. Always saying go forward. A voracious reader. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. Very smart, erudite, a good young daughter. She set the first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. Went on from there to become the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before. But I really do appreciate that, Daisy. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history, I gotta say it, of the universe. Very smart, erudite, a good man. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Always be anything you want to be. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers to look up stats and on teams and players for the Big C Sports Podcast. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. And I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 podcast platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You see your show come up. And now streaming on 4 TV platforms. Malcolm, you can be anything you want. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying, let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. ESPN nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-way teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. My show is fresh every day, like the collard greens that I eat almost every day. Then my optometrist told me that I do need to clean my contacts more often, and I will. But I clean them good enough to not let them charge me an extra fee that was not in the contract. That's my story. I'm taking with it. Well, as I always tell you on every Big C Sports show, if you're gonna drink, don't drive. If you're gonna drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love drink and drive. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story and I'm taking with it. Well, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. Every time I listen to Big C Sports, I think reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap. You need more leader in your life. Leader is an acronym for love is the answer. Anyone that hurts you, they don't love you. Call 911. Let the police deal with it. Things change when the police show up. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I believe in signing reparations now. Sign reparations forever. Come on and say it like you're going to cheer for March Madness. You'd be mad not to cheer about it. Sign reparations now. Sign reparations forever. Come on and say it like your team has won the championship of the universe. Sign reparations now. Sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.